What's going on, everybody? My name is indeed BloodThunder. You can just call me BT for short. Makes it short, sweet, and simple. Like, hopefully this run's gonna be. It's always a pleasure to be back on stage, especially as a SGDQ ambassador this time around. We'll have plenty of time to talk during the run, so if my couch wants to introduce themselves, they can go ahead.
Sure. Hi, I'm Bobbeigh. I like Indiana Jones, and I like great circles.
I'm Ashley93oBTW. I speedrun this game on the regular 80% category.
Yeah, we'll be getting into what the difference is once we get a little bit further into the game, but we're just going to start a brand new game here in Peru. We're going to play on light and light. There's different combat settings and different puzzle settings. As it is a speedrun, we're just going to go with the light, which is the easy mode. Once we skip this cutscene at time, we'll officially begin. We start our globetrotting adventure. So 3, 2, 1, and we're off.
Good luck.
So it's going to look like a kind of bit of a weird path because we actually need to optimize our stamina, which is that bar ticking down at the bottom. We're going to be talking about that a lot through this run because it is super critical. Besides the big out of bounds that we're going to do, the stamina is by far the most important thing. And you can see it's already drained out. Anytime we're running, we're fighting in any capacity using the whip, that will drain. So we want to optimize that as much as possible. And unfortunately, if you fall like even half of an inch, you just lose an entire bar. You can see when I'm just sprinting on flat ground, it kind of takes a while. But yeah, if I like fall just the smallest amount, it just drains super, super quick. So even though there's like technically faster lines, if you look at it from like a top-down view, I'm trying to avoid any of those little segments. But we're also going to be skipping all of the cutscenes because there are a lot of them. This game is very cinematic, as an Indiana Jones game should be. But yeah, if we were going to sit and watch all the cutscenes, it would be several more hours. And GDQ said, you know, we're not going to take that. So currently we're in kind of a dream sequence, going back to an homage to Temple of Doom. This game actually is going to be set kind of in the middle of the timeline in 1937, so after the first movie, but not before the third, and then we're not going to talk about any movie past the third, so.
Like you shouldn't.
Yeah.
So expanding on what he was talking about with the stamina, starting any action in this game will drain a stamina bar, and unfortunately that includes starting a sprint. That also means going into a falling state where once you land, you're in sort of a landing recovery. That also drains a stamina bar, and then starting the sprint again drains another stamina bar. So that's why we are kind of trying to path ourselves in such a way where we have like literally no airtime at all. It all comes together to form something I like to call vacuum cleaner movement because we don't want any airtime whatsoever because that'll destroy our stamina.
Yeah. Except for right there where we actually just jump over the puzzle. We do take a bit of damage, which is the bar in the bottom left-hand corner. We have 4 health bars depending on our outfit because this is actually a kind of a stealth being disguised kind of game. So depending on the outfit, you either have 4 if you're in adventure mode like we are now, or we'll have 3 later on. And there is a little bit of auto regen, but we'll also talk about items we get along the way that help us get kind of temporary health and temporary stamina, which we'll point out. But yeah, we're about to end the sequence and go back to Marshall College.
Wakes up from a nightmare of his ex screaming at him, so.
A little drunken stupor at night. Someone's broken in, we gotta go track them down and start the adventure and find out kind of what the Great Circle is.
Yeah, we're thinking maybe it's some rowdy kids that broke into the museum, but unfortunately, it's not. It's the late, great Tony Todd here. He's chanting some sort of Latin, and he's very confrontational with us, so.
Yeah, we actually need to fail this fight as quickly as possible, so we have to get grabbed twice. The second we'll start an action that lets us go into a cutscene. Yeah, unfortunately, as great as Tony Todd is in this game, most of the run is just us beating him up, which feels real bad.
Yeah.
Indiana?
Yeah, we lose the fight. We're going to solve a quick puzzle. It's going to tell us what he took, which is a little cat mummy statue, which actually has a piece of one of the relics in it, one of the stones for the Great Circle. We're going to be going across the globe, so one may expect, and kind of collecting a bunch of those while fighting Nazis and fascists, which is always a great thing to do. Shoutouts to Wolfenstein 2 later in the schedule as well, one of my favorite runs. Look at this excellent lifting form, just all legs.
Marcus?
What do you think he benches?
Help me out here.
That's a great question.
So right now we're looking for evidence about our thief to see what he left behind. And he left behind a pendant, which Indy actually recognizes as being from the Vatican. So he's decided he's going to drop all of his duties and pack up and head towards Italy to visit a friend of his in the Vatican so he can do some investigative work. But first he sees a present he never opened from said ex-girlfriend.
Wait, I thought it came from nobody, actually.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he does what you should when your ex hits you up.
So we're just gonna pack real quick. Packing for GDQ. Make sure we make it in time.
Yeah, bring your bullwhip to GDQ. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna do a cosplay, but I was like, they probably don't want to whip on stage. There's a lot of expensive tech around here. I don't want to ruin anything. A little present for our friend as well. That's all we need.
That's all we need, and we're off.
So one thing we did pick up there was a little note. In this game, collectibles give you adventure points. They kind of incentivize you to explore the maps more. We'll talk about kind of like the hub areas when we get to the Vatican proper, but essentially adventure points are just things you get from collectibles so that you can buy skills. Skills come in the form of books, which unlock different things related to combat, stamina, health, exploration, all that kind of stuff. There's a handful that we'll pick up through the run, but just picking them up means you can unlock them. It doesn't mean you actually do unlock them. So we need adventure points and a different amount depending on the book. The better the book, the more it costs. So we're going to be picking up adventure points along the way. Get a little mix of first and third person action. Got to make sure this guy doesn't interrupt us. Enemies can just interrupt your climbing, and that's super slow. So.
Yeah, this is supposed to be our first sort of stealth section because at its core this is more or less a stealth game. But in the speedrun we just kind of run past everyone because they don't react fast enough to really be too much of a problem most of the time.
Much like the actual movies.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're also going to take a safe little drop here. This skips quite a bit of exploring and platforming to get down safely, but just dropping on that little ledge there cuts our fall damage. Just gonna give this guy a whack so he doesn't bother us, and then run right on by.
Yeah, there's a lot of different fun ways to deal with enemies. There's plenty of weapons you can pick up and use, but using a whip will just disarm them long enough so we can run past.
So we're gonna climb up here and run along this bridge just to get by the enemies, and then we're gonna do a small jump, skill jump found by Matt. Just kind of saves some time that we would normally have to whip up because whip climbing is a little slow. Another thing you're going to notice is when we do the whip climbs, we actually turn to the side because the animation he does when we're facing forward is very slow. So we're always going to be turning to the side and climbing straight up. I don't know, I'd say it's about 20% faster, give or take.
Yeah, it's definitely something you want to make sure that you do at all times. And here we're going to go for a little bit of a risky jump. It's not too bad, but... because we're in an alerted state, we actually don't get checkpoints where we should.
There you go. Very nice.
And you have to be really careful not to mash interact there because they'll just drop you off the zip line and you'll fall down.
Yeah, you really have to be sure with your inputs on this game because if you double tap, it will cancel whatever it is you were starting to do. So now we're just gonna pick up this weapon and deal with Big Man here. Oh, Big Man's down. Okay. And then now we're going to go say hello to Antonio, our friend that we were meeting up with.
Yeah, he's going to sneak us in here.
Is that you?
We just get to listen to a little bit of a conversation going on. So if we got some hot donations, maybe pushing out a vowed good ending, now's a good time to read them off.
Absolutely. We are almost at 11,000 out of 25,000. Y'all are doing fantastic work for Doctors Without Borders. And we are almost at $80,000 total for the entire marathon. And I'll just start off by saying $250 from Verdant Hope.
Yo, Verdant.
The comment, good luck, BT. Enjoy the fast trip around the world ever witnessed. Thank you so much for that donation. We also have $50 from Sarah of Mars, who's donating towards that incentive, saying, not just doing this to hit the Avowed incentive, but as Colin's my favorite party member, the one and only Kai. I agree. Thank you so much for working towards that incentive. And we've already hit 11,000. We are cooking, friends. I'd like to see this incentive met before we finish this run, and you can absolutely do it. Exclamation point donate in chat and put that donation towards the Avowed incentive.
Yeah, get that incentive met. That run's coming up next. It's super sick. You definitely want to see that. Here we are in the Vatican, the first of 3 big hubs in the game, which is a much more open. This game goes from very linear kind of levels with a lot of set pieces to a very open map that wants you to explore, and you spend a lot of time here.
Unusual for where it was found.
Kind of past the tutorial section. So we'll talk about food in here in just a second, but we need to give Antonio this relic. Take a little bit of a look at it and tell us what he thinks of it.
Can I see this calling card?
What do you make of this?
Skip another wonderful cutscene. So we picked up 3 things of bread and 3 things of fruit. Bread is going to give us temporary health, which you can see on the bottom left once again. We're going to go ahead and eat those down just because we have some downtime. We're going to save the fruit because that gives us extra stamina, but it prioritizes temporary stuff over normal stamina. So if we eat it now, we're going to kind of run through it too early. Here's our first disguise, and don't blink, so we're going to put it on really, really quick.
What I love about the food in this game is you eat the whole thing in just one bite. Like, that's it. It's just a full croissant or whatever, and you just downs it in one go. Like,
so you can see now we drop down to 3 because we're kind of in a stealth segment. We're supposed to blend in, be kind of a priest from America visiting, but we need to go down into the basement. It's dark and spooky down here. Better take this light.
so it turns out that the pendant from the Vatican is actually a key for this secret passageway. So we're going down to investigate what the deal is with it. To be honest with you, I don't remember what the deal is with it.
Yeah, so we can just pull this through the wall, through the gate, skip a little bit of a swimming tutorial. It's not too big. Here's another collectible we're going to pick up. So that's more adventure points. If you ever see me picking up like a little page like this, is actually required, but we get adventure points from that as well. Just the stars in the top right-hand side. We're going to go for a little bit of a trick because we've got to wait for Antonio.
Candle flip? Oh. Almost.
Second try?
Oh, almost.
Third try for sure.
Oh! Run it back, run it back.
Here is a very special.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're out of time, unfortunately.
And it disappeared, so no one can say we didn't hit that one.
True, true. I did see it land upright for just a moment, so I would take that.
Same, actually.
All right, so he just downed a pear and 2 oranges in less than a second, so that's how we know that we're off to a sprint. So we're going to sprint to the other side of the Vatican.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the difference between categories real quick while I run over there.
Yeah, so in this game, there was a trick found called launches, where we basically grab an enemy, be it a Nazi, a fascist, or whatever. We grab them with something in between us and them, and we aim at a certain angle, and that just shoots us really high up in the sky. Unfortunately, though, the height that gives us is tied to frame rate, so we split the categories off, and regular any %, those are allowed. And in restricted, they aren't allowed. So it's a very, very cool trick, but you're not going to be seeing it, unfortunately. But we get to see more of the game. And there's also some really cool out of bounds. But for our first out of bounds here is actually going to be start right here. So we're going to alert this guy by giving him a whack just like that. And then we're going to climb up here. This is, if you play this casually, you'll know that the section we're about to go to, you don't get to until you've put at least like 5 hours in just exploring this area. But we're going to go right there. And it's important that we keep these guys on alert because, like I said, this game is a stealth game at its core, and it has a mechanic where if you are not detected, then whenever you climb something up, you'll go into a crouch state, and we don't want that in our to do this trick jump that we're coming up to up ahead.
Yeah, this is definitely like the scariest part of showing this off, so hopefully we can...
Yeah, this one is, it's not random, it's just very hard to do. We're gonna move the tools out of the way, look for a lineup, and go to 24 FPS. We're gonna try and get a little glitch mantle up top of this window here. Nearly. There you go. Oh, almost.
Yeah, also having to just do the 24 frames is just...
Yeah, it's
quite annoying.
Annoying to do, but...
The wonders of modern PC speedrunning.
Yeah, do you know this was on the same engine as the new Doom games?
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, so now we're up top, and now we just go straight out of bounds. We're gonna run along this very thin wall that has collision on it, and then we're gonna drop down, and if we're... Okay. Oh, we can run back up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, normally we would have dropped down and either opened the door from out of bounds or gotten a checkpoint and then reloaded, but we fell all the way down. Took some damage, but it's okay. It doesn't matter as much in this category. And then we're going to be introduced to our companion, Gina.
Yeah, so Gina's a investigative reporter. She's her sister is missing, and she's trying to find her. And it kind of just goes in with our quest, so she's going to be our companion. Unfortunately for us, that means we kind of have to escort her around. And if you've played video games and you hear the word escort, that just gives you PTSD. There are definitely some moments where we are just waiting for Gina to move. But here we're waiting to meet our antagonist, Voss. That's also Mussolini, by the way. And now we get to go do another fun out of bounds. We're going to pick up some more stuff along the way. We did pick up one book already. That is our pep book, which gives us a little bit more stamina along the way, which we won't buy until we get to the next map because we actually don't have enough adventure points. And we're going to pick up some other books for fighting later on.
Yeah, so as he mentioned earlier, if you ever see him go out of his way to pick something up, it's more than likely for XP that we're going to use to get upgrades later. We're also getting medicine bottles that are just along the way that we're going to use for another upgrade that he's routed in called Moxie, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But first, we're going to run all the way to the end dungeon, basically, and do some investigative work. Oh, you are going for Brawler 1, I forgot. Yeah, so this is, that's Brawler 1. That's going to give us increased melee damage, and that's going to come in handy for the fights that we have to do.
Yeah, most of the time in this game, if you miss something, you have to go back and get it. There's a system for that, but that book in particular, you can get on the last map, but if you miss it, it just spawns by the fight club there, so makes it a little bit nicer to route in.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right, so now we're going to come here and then just get this whip off just through the crack there. And then drop down. And then we have to actually switch outfits before we can do our archaeology detective work. Kind of a fun thing. We're going to grab some heals because this out of bounds skips in this game, we basically have routed how much fall damage we're going to take at each part. So we know, okay, we need to heal this many bars. Another thing is, you'll see at the bottom left, he has basically 2 health bars. That's base health and then also his bonus health. The base health will recharge up to each pip. But the bonus health does not. So a lot of the times, you want to avoid damage in general, but it's because that bonus health won't regenerate. So yeah, that's just a general consideration. So now we're doing a puzzle here to set up this, dungeon, secret entrance, whatever.
Yeah, this is actually a puzzle to open up another puzzle that gets you into an area where you solve even more puzzles. So
yeah, and we're going to be doing exactly none of that. I'm going to take the whip and glide down. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was going to say, well, while you're working on puzzles, it's just want to let you know that you have surpassed $80,000 for Doctors Without Borders. Let's keep it going. We are getting closer. We're almost at $12,000 for that avowed good ending incentive. And Sharper Gossamer agrees. 80K, let's go, GDQ. Thank you for that $25 donation. Back to you.
Yeah, so we're doing it, trying to set up another out of bounds here where a common theme in this game is the ceilings have no collision. So usually we find, Matt found a lot of spots where you can climb up and just sort of mantle up through the ceiling and then just get out of bounds that way. So that's kind of what we're doing here. This one is particularly tricky. Okay, there we go. Then we're gonna run down. We know we're gonna take 1 bar of health. We're gonna eat up and then set up for the big drop all the way down to the later section of the Vatican fire trial. There we go.
Take another little safety fall. Oh!
Uh-oh.
That's fine. We got a checkpoint right here. Gotta show it off again, The skip is so nice, we gotta do it twice.
For sure, for sure. All right, there we go.
Get a little damage. Eat some bread. I don't know if a doctor would approve that method.
There you go.
Now we just need to jump across, fall back in bounds here, and then we gotta skip even more puzzles here in just a second.
Oh, there you are. Get up here.
Thank you, thank you. There's actually supposed to be a lot of puzzles that Gina kind of helps you solve here as well, which is just makes it incredibly slow.
Like, none of the scripts are set up for that, thankfully, so we can just run straight through it.
For giants.
So what is it exactly that we're doing here again? It's been too long, I forget.
So we're supposed to we're gonna forge 2 keys so that we can open up that giant door so that we can get into a little research area.
Right, and then, okay, so he ran forward there to grab a checkpoint, so we can set up for another out of bounds here. We're gonna climb up on this really sick looking chandelier thing.
I just did not want to climb today.
There you go. There we go. Now we're up and out.
So you have to be really careful not to actually like mash space, otherwise you just go flying off into the void. But yeah, we're not done yet.
Gonna run along the wall, and then we're gonna get up and over this big sanctuary-looking room. And this is actually where like a key patch version difference comes in. So we actually play down patched on update 2 for this category because. And then we play on 1.0 for any percent. So on update 2, if we get this checkpoint and we quit out and then hit continue, Gina spawns here.
We also have to make sure we wait a couple seconds to hit continue, otherwise she gets stuck behind the door.
Oh, interesting.
So we just kind of wait, and now we're escorting Gina. So the handy dandy medallion we found is going to unlock a lot of doors here. And this is kind of the final part of the Vatican, so we've just like skipped the entire first hub of the game, finding this cat mummy statue thing. So we're gonna go through another fight with Tony Todd, and you could just see how completely indestructible he is.
What does a world-class archaeologist make of it?
It is quite impressive he lives through what we're about to do.
So what caliber do you think his gun is?
It's the same symbol.
I don't know guns that well.
I'd say maybe it's like a 357 or I'm not sure, maybe a 45.
What's your guess, Bobby?
No.
Fair.
But that's relevant because as we catch this cat mummy, it's very interesting that this guy can survive. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 6 shots to the head, and he's still shooting.
Stamina's out. I think one of the shots missed.
Uh-oh. That's not a huge time loss. You just don't want to get grabbed normally.
Yeah, you can see how quickly in combat our stamina drains.
Yep, each punch is a stamina bar. There we go. Now he's down.
Does the cup that Gina throw actually do damage?
No, she just likes to do it.
Oh.
She's helping, okay? Just let her help.
So he's not dead. He's just knocked out.
Oh.
6 shots from the revolver, a whole bunch of punches. He's still up. He's still fine.
So, yeah, while we just wait for Gina to walk through, I just like looking at the statue. I don't know, something about it just really catches my eye. In this room of artifacts.
It's got that aura.
It's got that stance. But we're just basically waiting for Gina to open a couple doors for us and getting some collectibles. So if we got some more lovely donations to read.
Absolutely. Thorcat donates $25 and says, "Go BloodThunder! Always love watching your speed runs."
That's my parents. So shout out to
Oh,
them.
yay!
They've watched and supported every run that I've done, all the way back to AGDQ 2014.
I cannot open. You still have that
Can you believe I started coming to the events when I was like 18 and I just turned 32 yesterday?
Wow.
First off, happy belated
Happy birthday!
Yes. And we'll get back to that. I have a little stat for you that I'm going to talk about in a hot second if you got a little bit more time.
Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. Another $25 this time from 8-Bit Monster, donating to the good ending for Avowed. Also, good luck to you on the run, BT, and have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. And you know, that stat I mentioned, I like weird numbers, and do you know how many times that how many runs you've done at mainline events, BloodThunder?
This will be number 27.
27. All right,
Ooh,
friends.
nice save.
Hear me out. I see a lot of $25 donations. In honor of a belated birthday present, can we get some $27 donation hype for BloodThunder? And we can put that towards that avowed good ending. So make sure you're putting exclamation point donate in chat and support a great runner and a great cause. And that being Doctors Without Borders.
There you go. That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, this game, not only is like the stamina kind of just got some jank to it, just overall, a lot of just weird stuff happens. And you just won't grab things properly. He'll just jump too far. He won't climb.
And we don't have to talk about the dozen of different ways you can soft block on this.
Well, normally we can just like sprint past all these guards. There's one at the very top that just really gets in the way. So we're gonna try to get this guy's gun. Just to make it a little bit easier.
Excuse us.
Also, if enemies are alerted, they take way more damage. So if you can get a stealth kill, it's usually like a one-shot. And as soon as they're alerted, it takes forever. So it definitely prioritizes stealth, and it's also a little slow.
Just mowed them right down.
So we have to go through this fun climbing segment, and we'll be leaving the Vatican. I'm actually going to wait once we get up here to get stamina back. Stamina running out when you're climbing is also very annoying, but yeah, we got another round of donations. Time for it.
Of course, $25 from Harper MD donating, saying, gotta see that avowed good ending. And as a reminder, we are just shy of $12,000 out of $25,000. We are almost halfway there. I want to see this incentive met before the end of this run. Again, we want to get that good ending. And, you know, y'all, we're inching closer and closer to $100,000 on the first day of GDQ. Let's see that happen. We also have $10 from Jared Cole saying, first time donating, having watched since 2014. Here's the doctors and the lovely art. Thank you so much for donating to Doctors Without Borders.
You can keep going.
Perfect. $25 from Billy Phoenix with a comment of less than 3. Less than 3 to you, Billy Phoenix. Thank you so much for that. And we have $5 from Devin Ekins, who says, thank you, speedrunners, for this amazing week. Agreed, it is starting off strong with some fantastic runners.
Yeah, even $5, if you can give that much, it really does help out Doctors Without Borders and their cause. It's amazing. You know, got to work a lot with them for the ambassador program they put on, and it's just, the work they do is incredible. And even if you can't donate and still want to support, watching is a great way, just telling your friends, spreading the word. And now we are into Giza, the second big hub. But once again, we'll do some fun routing to just completely bypass most of the quest here. We need to go over to the blueprint, the blue tent, not the blueprints. That's a game that's going to come up later. It's pretty cool. Sorry, it's just on my mind. Can't stop thinking about it. You're also going to notice a lot of times now I'm going to be running past fruit, which does give us extra stamina. I find, unfortunately, a lot of times stopping to pick it up and having to consume it isn't really worth the trade-off. There are certain parts of the game where we'll still grab a little bit, but this is not one of those. We've got to feed a pet snake here real quick. No, Andy loves the snakes.
Are you going to use the camera here?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we would have gotten the camera back in the Vatican, but the devs were nice enough to give it to us if we skipped it in the first map. But you're going to see him pull that camera out and take lots of pictures all over the place. That's just another way that we have of getting XP. In the story, what happened is in the room that we fought Tony Todd in, we found a collection of artifacts that the Nazis had basically rounded up from all over the world, and they're looking for several different pieces of what's called the Great Circle. What the Great Circle is, we don't really know yet. We just know that all these artifacts come together and give them some sort of power.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned, like, once you, like, leave a level, you're not supposed to get it. There's certain key items the game expects you to have for certain missions. In the Vatican, it's the camera. Once you get past that level, the game just assumes you have it, because it's like you completed those missions, so of course you have the camera. So when we get here, even though we didn't buy it, it doesn't give it to us. We'll get the lighter here later on. Unfortunately, we can't really skip it unless we do one of the 80% launches. So this is a big level where the category is quite different. One of the big skips of the run, but we still have some big stuff in Giza. For right now, we just need to run across the desert so we can get to where we need to go. Because unfortunately, it's just on the complete other side of the map. So we got some donations to read.
Oh, of course. So about that 27 I mentioned earlier, Mikey donated $27 and said, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And another $27 from Drummer Boy. Great run from BloodThunder. Awesome to see him back year after year. Thanks for all of the organizers for putting this amazing event together. Thank you so much for those donations. And again, we have just surpassed, as I'm saying this, $13,000 of $25,000. We are over halfway there to getting that good ending incentive for Avowed. So keep those donations coming towards Doctors Without Borders. And again, $27 hype trains, it has taken off, all right? $27 from What It Be, say $27 hype train. First time at SGDQ in person, and it's off to a great start. I've been watching and donating for years. My donation goes to the Avowed good ending. Thank you so much, and let's keep that train going.
Yeah, keep donating for sure. You know, if we can hit that ending before this run's over, I'd be so happy. But right there, we not only hit a fast travel checkpoint, which we'll get to later, but we also lowered our FPS so we could just do a fun series of jumps over the gate into the Nazi compound, which we're supposed to get to well into this hub area. We need to jump over the gate as well, and we're gonna make our way up top into the compound so we can start finding more information, a lot about Gina's sister, just what Voss is up to. We're gonna get some bread because we're gonna potentially take a lot of damage here. This is a part where it's kind of up to the enemies what happens, but because we're also supposed to have Gina for this part of the game, where right now we don't. We left her back at the tent for the time being. If we sneak in, a really weird thing happens where she's not there, but all of her animations play out. And also her dialogue doesn't play out, so we get kind of the best of both worlds where things are like really sped up, but it also looks really crazy. And some more adventure points. We also did buy our first book, PAP 1, back in the tent, just because we had some time. So we're gonna try to open this door. And this is where Gina's supposed to come over and unlock it for us. We're gonna scarf down some food. Oh, it's a ghost. So we got some clues to find in here. Yeah, so usually this book here, you have to wait for Gina to kind of talk to you about it, but a lot of that just gets skipped for whatever reason. That's a nice book. Read it later.
Don't have time for that now.
What does that have to do with the snow?
You almost owed me a new keyboard after that. Perfect timing.
In the secret monastery.
So you're supposed to take a picture of Voss here in a second, but you actually don't need to zoom in at all, which is kind of fun. You can just kind of take it from this far.
Little flip phone resolution.
Yeah, so now we need Gina to open the door yet again. Okay, now we need to go full speed and just try to run past these guards. I'm gonna make sure I don't sprint so I don't lose stamina when I fall here. And yeah, we don't really care too much about the damage that the enemies do, but if they jump up top and start coming inside the building with me, they will just shoot me and stop me from actually opening the hatch that we need to start the next cutscene.
This is pretty much what we stock up on HP for here. We almost got away with only losing 1 bar.
So Gina is also a very big part of
Stop that.
Leave me alone. I'm just trying to pull up these boards here.
All right,
now I'm gonna stealthily drop down, huh?
So Gina's holding Voss at gunpoint. Doing a great job at it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, the enemies are a ghost too, apparently. Okay. That's never happened before.
Yeah, we were literally just talking before we went live with the game. Like, I wonder how many that's never happened before we can fit in this run.
Unfortunately, it happens to Indy quite a bit.
Well, I can tell you what we just had happen. We just passed $15,000 for that incentive. You're doing fantastic work. Let's hear a round of applause for that.
I think it's time we found that exit the wall was talking about.
So now we're past that. A lot of stuff had happened in that cutscene, and we're just going to bypass going out the normal way. It's kind of a fun escape sequence. We can get up on this box. Indy really doesn't want to climb anything today, which I can't blame him, you know. So instead of just going through the front door, we're just going to go out through the skylight. And then jump to the front door instead, which just breaks a lot of triggers here. So we're gonna run the same way we would if we just went through the door. For some reason, when this tunnel's supposed to collapse, it just doesn't by doing that, which is really nice, because otherwise you're in like a little crawling animation. So yeah, we just bypassed that.
Oh, you don't even get the cutscene there, okay.
Yeah, it's just, you just gotta keep on running, which I cannot complain about. But that's a huge part of Giza already skipped. We basically just need to know like where the final area is, and that's why we have to go buy a lighter now. We also picked up money in the blimp between the Vatican and the Giza map, and we're just running on over. This area went through a lot of different reroutes of like, what's the fastest way to like get the lighter and then run over to the camp. And a lot of people had like different pathways, like getting the lighter first and then coming back, and then there's fast traveling involved. If you want to route in like Brawler 3, that's an entirely different thing. So there's been a lot of fun routing changes here. I'm just
The wall
gonna
is
smash
weaker.
up this wall.
This could be a...
Get a bit of stamina. It's a mechanic we see a couple times here and there where we can just break down walls. We'll see it a few more times before we leave Giza, but it's not a terribly important one. So leaving that camp puts us right by the village where we need to buy the lighter, and then there's also the Sphinx over here where we need to pick up a few more clues, and then we can head over to the final like dungeon entrance
Make sure there's no
where we have a very fun time.
We're more or less just grabbing the lighter and then running to the end of the map, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What are you selling? I'm gonna be crawling.
Yeah, in regular any percent, we basically skip all of this. We go straight to the camp and then launch out of bounds and then do one thing or the other, and then this map is over. So this is a lot of stuff I haven't seen a whole lot of.
Yeah, good old scenic route.
Yep.
You're just gonna see this guy with this run place. So we don't want to get caught, because if we're caught, we're in alert mode. The game will not let us fast travel. You really can't interact with anything at all. And we want to fast travel across the map pretty much right away, so we kind of go out of our way, take more of the scenic route, grab some photos. And we need to do this in kind of a specific order, otherwise we get extra dialogue too.
That's not a good angle. Somehow that giant's tattoo is the... There! The tattoo symbol. What else is here? There's Khufu's pyramid.
You can see all of these are giving me adventure points as well, just stocking up.
There it is.
Because we're going to use Brawler 1 and 3, some combat books. That guy spotted me. We actually need like 900 adventure points, so we need quite a bit. Luckily, this quest line actually gives us a whole bunch. Yeah, so knocking them out or killing them instantly gets rid of the alerted state.
Nice.
But now these enemies also just kind of are a little bit random in how much damage they do. Just gonna pop in here in a second. We just need to sneak in, and when I say sneak, it's gonna get alerted really quickly. They're just gonna start shooting and then hopefully get out of it. Picking up the Brawler book, and we're gonna get one more thing of medicine. It'd be really nice if we get the 5 medicine so we could buy the Moxie book early, but unfortunately in the Vatican they are very, very spread out and just not on the route. A little bit of a snack, hold on. So we do have a little bit of auto regen if we don't get hit again.
Yeah, fortunately with the regular Indiana Jones outfit, we get an extra bar of health, which actually is what makes a lot of the out of bounds possible, is just being able to take an extra bar of damage.
Luckily, going back to the medicine bottles for a second, like in Giza, they're just right along the way, so we can pick them up. There's not been like super hard testing to figure out exactly if it's worth it, but it feels like it is, because fighting boss takes a lot of stamina. It is just hand-to-hand combat. We need a sledgehammer to break open the door here.
This isn't a tomb.
So I think what's going on with the story is we found notes from Gina's sister, and Gina's sister was investigating a new language that they had discovered writing in. So she was studying what the writing meant and what it sounded like. And the language is actually Adamic, supposedly the original language that human beings spoke.
Yeah, I was gonna try to like learn it to do all my commentary in, but that didn't happen. Give me a couple of years and we'll get back to it. So the reason we need the lighters, actually there's two things we need to take pictures of back here, which we cannot take pictures of unless we light these. And it does not matter the order you have to take these pictures in, as long as you get all of them. The order you need to click on them is always the same here.
So now he can just develop pictures from film just on the fly. And he's just laying them out just like this. And this is kind of an interesting puzzle where you just have to speak the words in the correct order. And then that enters us into the secret tomb of this level.
Yeah, basically what the story boils down to is there's a tribe of giants known as the Nephilim who have been like safekeeping the Great Circle and the stones and the secret of it to keep the power away from the world. But the Nazis, being Nazis, want to take that and use it to just kind of take over the world. So we're constantly battling the Nephilim, trying to stop us from getting the stuff, but we're also trying to stop the Nazis from getting stuff. So we're caught in the middle, which is why we're fighting both. And we have a really big fight coming up, one of the two big fights in this run, but we have another series of puzzles coming up, which is super fun. We gotta shine some lights.
A mirror.
So one thing I actually want to point out about playing on the easiest difficulty in this game is it actually does make the puzzles a lot easier. Another key difference is when you are playing on the easiest difficulty, you actually get objective markers, which I don't think was really part of the intended experience. So a lot of playing this game casually is wandering around somewhat aimlessly.
Yeah, this puzzle in particular is like super easy. You just have to shine light on 3 different icons. On the normal puzzle difficulty, you have to shine the light on 3 things to make one, and then do that 2 more times. So it just really cuts down the amount that we need to do.
Now I got 2 light beams to work with.
Basically, just we have to repair the machine, and it kind of solves itself.
Yeah. I did kind of feel like the puzzles in this game were really well designed casually, though.
Yeah, I'm really hoping the DLC includes a lot more puzzles, because it is kind of the more fun aspect of this game, not so much the combat. So
it's a stealth game. It's not a shooting game or a fighting game.
Piece of a mirror.
Well, if you have a quick second, I can give you some of the mass amounts of love we're seeing in donations right now.
This goes here.
Let me just buy these books real quick that we've been saving up. We have exactly 900 points, so we get both Brawler 1 and 3 there. We're skipping 2 because it's in a weird spot to pick up. And we also would have to find more adventure points, so the routing to fit it in does just not make any sense. But yeah, we got time for donations.
All right, how about $270 from Teamster?
All right.
Saying, I'm watching with my 3-month-old daughter, just thrilled to be about to share this wonderful event with her. Keep up the awesome work. We also have, there's a lot of $27 donations, friend. You're all doing fantastic work. $27 from Desiree BLG. BloodThunder has been one of my favorite runners of GDQ for a long time now. So what better time to send in my first donation of the marathon? Congrats on the 27th run, BT.
Thank you.
And to share some birthday love, we have $34 from Chris saying first time donor. Donated $34 because it's also my 34th birthday.
Yo.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Birthday. Yeah, I got a lot of friends at the event who have birthdays very close to mine, which is cool. We all get to celebrate together. But yeah, now we're going into the fight. Ashley, if you want to talk about this one while I suffer through it.
Yeah, so we're stuck in the dark. This is what we buy the lighter for, and we have to go and touch these pressure plates, which actually turn the light on. We're going to investigate an artifact, and then through one reason or another, that turns the lights out and summons a blind Nephilim that we then have to fight. He likes to grab you a lot, and we're going to hopefully avoid getting grabbed at all. We're going to run over here and turn on the light. He set up some weapons that he could pick up for the fight specifically. He's going to hit him with a charge attack into the back.
I tend to do a charge into a light, and then I need to do that with 3 different weapons, 2 times each. And that should be enough to finish the fight. But yeah, he's all based on sound, so if you step over these gold coins or start sprinting, he'll find you real quick.
Bring it on. Come on. There he is. So during the fight, he's also going to go back and then reactivate these pressure plates, so we can more efficiently finish this section out once we kill him. We also unfortunately don't have any bullets, so we can't count how many rounds this guy can take into the skull.
I'm also trying to make sure he's not like sprinting towards me when I go to attack, because he'll just grab, and he has a much further reach than we do, unfortunately. Also, anytime he grabs you and you get thrown down to the ground, he just kind of teleports away, which makes finding him a little bit awkward. Okay, our weapon just doesn't get picked up. That's fine.
Yeah, so if you think this fight's bad, in the old any % route, we actually had to do this fight at 24 FPS and only being allowed to move in one direction at full speed. So this is not nearly as bad as that was. He's gone. He's taken what? Three metal pulls? There we go. Okay.
Yeah, one pull I didn't actually get the final hit on, so.
Oh, gotcha.
I need to find the last pad.
It's like 2 3/4.
I did it.
And we just skipped this cutscene twice for some reason.
Yeah.
But this is quite literally the end of Giza, a section that normally takes like, I don't know, 5 hours casually.
Yeah, the hubs each take like 5 hours if you kind of know what you're doing or like stumble into the right area. But if you're going exploring, getting all this stuff, it can easily take like 8 to 10 per area. But the third and final one we'll get to happens to be the shortest for some strange reason. Here's another one of these little statues that has a piece of the Great Circle Stones in it. We need to escape.
Gotta be an exit.
Unfortunately, this is also kind of the longest point where the game just throws you into an in-game cinematic. So it's not one of the video files that we get to skip. It's one that we have to watch through. So once we get into it, we'll have plenty of time for all of those wonderful donations coming in. If you want a $5 hype train or a $27 hype train, if you want to get that avowed incentive met, your comment read, now is a wonderful time to do it because, yeah, we're going to be a little preoccupied for the next couple minutes here. Just escape and... We are unfortunately now just a head in the ground.
Well, now that we are just a head in the ground, good stretch over there. We are less than $10,000 from getting that good ending incentive for Avowed. Agreed, round of applause. But friends, gamers, we are running out of time. BloodThunder is a masterclass of speedrunning, so he's gonna be getting through this real fast. We need those donations to be put right towards that incentive. Exclamation point donate in chat, and make sure you are selecting the good ending incentive. And also, speaking of those $27 donations that are still coming in, because well, we're celebrating BloodThunder. It's of course fantastic. $27 from Drake Lake. I could give $5, but 27 runs deserves $27. Congrats! With a little smiley face. Also, we could use a good ending, so let's get that incentive met. Thank you for that donation to Doctors Without Borders, Drake Lake. Then, Uni also donates $27 saying, is Indiana Jones technically a Doctor Without Borders? I would think so, Uni. Thank you so much for that. And we have some deep lore for Indiana Jones that I just want to say because I'm fascinated by this. We have $32 from Horace saying, Indy's revolver in the Great Circle is a Smith & Wesson MK2 hand ejector chambered for a .455 caliber Webley as it's based off of his gun from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Happy birthday, BT. Keep doing good runs. Love seeing you here as always. Thank you for the lore dump. That was awesome.
I got an answer to my question.
Yeah.
Right? There you go.
Yeah, so Voss was nice enough to give us a hat, but unfortunately we're still stuck here. We are going to get some new friends, though. The Nazis and the fascists have left. Time to bring on the real monsters. It's not snakes. You know, Andy can breathe a sigh of relief. It's not snakes, but it is a scorpion.
I like to call this Scorpion aim labs.
Yeah, we do have to kind of just push them away so they don't kill us. And yes, this is a real mechanic that we have to do every single run. I don't know how Indy has the lung capacity to push scorpions away.
Unfortunately, there's no way to speed this up besides blowing on the first scorpion as early as we can. There's nothing we can do after that. It's just stuck on a timer.
It's also nice to just attack one at a time.
Yeah.
Does this sequence get like harder in the
No.
subsequent difficulty?
No.
No.
No, it's just a thing.
Well, I'll come mobbing you.
The only difference is they would do more damage if they actually hit you. There are certain points where you can just like not interact with these cutscenes or the in-game cinematic moments, and you just don't have to worry about your health. The scorpions actually will kill you. I did test if we could just like get up and walk away and use the bathroom. No, they will just have no mercy. So they're going to dig us out, and through the power of cutscenes and skipping them, we're going to go across the world because our job in Giza is done. The stone is recovered. Unfortunately, although we got it, Voss took it from us, and now we're headed to the Himalayas. Quite a difference in climate. So it is quite the globe-trotting adventure. And unfortunately, this is where the big Gina escort part comes into play.
This is the whole W stretch.
But we also need to make sure to not soft lock her, because if we try to speed her up in any capacity, she really has a tendency to break, and then we just can't continue. So we're in the Himalayas.
What is this Zelda font?
Is this where Twilight Princess takes place? Not sure. Unfortunately, we also can't sprint. We're just following her along. We do have a couple of little things we can do, but yeah, if you get more donations, this would be a great time.
Of course, we are almost at $16,000 of that $25,000, so keep that coming, friends. We have another $27 donation from Cleo the cat that simply says, meow. Thank you so much, Cleo, for that donation to Doctors Without Borders. And Abon has donated $100 and just says, for that good ending. Thank you so much. And also, going back to those scorpions there, Josh and Alexis donated $5 and wanted to know if can Indiana Jones survive in the Evil Dead movie? And so if it's just his head and he's blowing against the zombies, could that work too?
I feel like he could.
I think so too.
With all, I mean, he jumped in a fridge to survive a nuclear bomb. I think he can survive anything.
Wait, I thought we weren't going to talk anything after Last Crusade.
Ooh.
But that wasn't the Last Crusade?
No. Uh-oh.
Oh. A little spill.
Yeah, unfortunately, an annoying thing when you whip climb in this game is you have to hold the right mouse button to climb up, and for whatever reason, the game likes to just drop that input. Like if it thinks your feet are on some ledge or something, it'll just cut the animation, and you have to like start it again, and you lose height.
Watch out!
So that's probably what happened there.
Okay.
Even when this game works perfectly fine, there's still just a little bit of...
Oh.
I think it wants me to climb that. I'm just gonna
climb it normally.
Like the regular way?
Yeah.
I think I'm hitting like this ledge on the side, but it's a fun little moment. We're gonna make little trails in the snow. Who doesn't like that?
Oh, it looks sick in this game.
Unfortunately, when I play at home, I have to play on super low graphic settings just to be able to run it at like a decent frame rate. This game is quite beefy, so I'm not used to all the nice graphics.
Okay.
So we'll see what it's like when you actually climb up normally, and this is why we turn to the side. Not terribly slow, but if we're trying to optimize things, we can actually sprint here. There's two different paths for whatever reason, but if we take this one, Gina will just warp ahead of us. The one time we can really get her to speed up.
Yeah, and then there she is.
Just covered in snow.
How you doing?
I don't know what she did, but yeah, we're coming out to the Himalayas to find a giant battleship. Giant Nazi battleship, which is
I don't think we are.
somehow made its way out here.
So my headcanon is they put the ship from Half-Life 3 in this game.
You seeing this too?
So we have a nice time to take a picture of it, just get some more adventure points. And then this is a spot where we need to make sure we don't break this before she grabs this ledge. Every runner goes through this. They try to speed this up and soft lock Gina just to make sure she's up there. And then once she starts climbing, we can actually just jump across.
He was waiting there because if he goes earlier, then it wouldn't let him grab.
Yeah. Fall straight down, and now we're walking in. But yeah, the Great Stone, or the Great Circle to talk more about, if you haven't played the game, the Great Circle just refers to all of these spots that of like notoriety around the world that if you drew a straight circle through, would make a perfect circle, which I don't know how accurate that is. But every place along that line has like their own little stone. There's like 17 to 20 of them. And the Nazis at this point have like 15 of them. One of the ones is here. One's in Sukhothai, which we'll get to later. But yeah, we're coming out here to find a stone. And the stone's actually what teleports stuff around the world, it turns out. You need to know the special code phrase in Adamic.
Do you think that's in Half-Life 3 too?
It might be. I guess we'll have to wait and see, honestly. Any day now, surely.
Yeah, for sure.
If we keep just saying it's going to come out, eventually it'll happen, just like Silksong, you know?
Yep.
Just one day.
One day.
So a little bit more walking with Gina. Like I said, unfortunately, even if we could find a skip, it probably wouldn't let us bypass this part. So before we actually get into the ship proper, we got time for some more donations.
Perfect. $27 from Strava, who says, Indy has a PhD, Dr. Jones. He frequently crosses borders. Can we call him an honorary doctor without borders? Totally not authorized, but happy B-Day from the community, BT.
Thank you.
We also have $10 from Greg and Emmett, who says, watching the Indy run is making me excited to load up my copy and play. Way to go, BloodThunder. Thank you so much for those donations. Again, we are at $16,000 of those $25,000 to get to that incentive. But again, friends, we are running out of time. Do not wait to the last second. We want to see that incentive met. Exclamation point, donate in chat, and put your donations towards the avowed incentive.
So unfortunately, this cutscene, for some reason, you just can't skip. The way the game works is that once you've watched the cutscene once and you have that in a save file, you can skip it on your next playthrough, which actually may come into play at the end of this run. Because I never have to transfer save files from one PC to the next. We were having some issues behind the scenes, so there may be one cutscene later on that we actually do have to watch. Now we have my favorite part of the run, where I get a little bit hungry each time I do this, because this is a handle covered in snow, but it just looks like a soft pretzel covered in salt, and it just looks so good.
Yeah?
Pretzel wheel.
So actually a big like critical story moment comes up, especially for Gina, because we find her sister here. Not alive, unfortunately. She, much like everyone else on the ship at this point, is just completely frozen solid. Despite the fact that there's so much room to fit through, Indy feels the need to be a little bit of a macho man. Just holding his pipe up real quick.
But he needs help.
I can't hold this for long.
Oh no, he doesn't need help. He's just holding it for her.
So yeah, now Gina's going to go on a little bit of a rampage, start attacking people, and we need to go up this ladder, but they're coming down, so let's make sure we're out of the way. Nice bottle smash. He is still alive.
Okay.
Hello.
All right.
Oh.
That's fine. That's not a problem. There is actually an out of bounds that I found here. Unfortunately, it's actually slower to do that than to just run through here normally. And it didn't really leave the whole lot, so.
I love that you bump into the guy and then instead of saying pardon me, you just whack him in the face a couple times.
I mean, when they're a Nazi, it's what you gotta do.
For sure, for sure.
Fun little whip mechanic we gotta do. Usually you're supposed to like interact with different parts of the world by throwing your whip at them and pulling and yanking them. I just found you can just do this from the top. As long as you position it just right. So we don't have to jump all the way down to the floor, pull this on the bottom, and then climb our way back up. This is kind of seen climbing is quite slow and stamina dependent, so we just do that from up there. And, this is one of the more linear maps, a big action set piece. We have a few of these before we get back to it, the last hub of the game, Sukhothai. So run past a whole bunch more Nazis, just solve a puzzle, and then some chaos happens. They might shoot at me, but for the most part, they really shouldn't care.
Yeah, this is a section where as long as we take the same path every time, we shouldn't alert any enemies. But there's just enough variance in the execution that sometimes we can get one or two aggroed onto us, just like that. But they're far enough away that they can't hurt us. Now this is a cool puzzle, but luckily you can also just remember the solution. Grabbing that for some XP.
A very evil code they chose. Door, get a little bit more XP, and then
Come on.
head up to the top and find the next stone. Unfortunately, even though we find it, the Nazis have also found us.
Yeah, and through the power of cutscenes, we go from Indiana Jones to an Uncharted cutscene, as you'll see here. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, when you start skipping cutscenes, it's like, what is actually happening in this game? I mean, even if you don't skip cutscenes, it's like, what's happening in this game? But a little bit more so this way. We're gonna get split up a little bit. No more escorting Gina around.
All right, there's no way she didn't get hit by that. Okay, I refute. Like,
also, unfortunately, even if we could find like a big out of bounds for this level, there's like 4 different ships. So every time we're like going through a load screen, we're actually going to a different map entirely. So if we get like really far outside the map, you just can't really progress that way.
yeah, and this level in particular, like, we're just gated by Gina because while we're doing all the climbing here, she's running along in a separate route. So we're literally going to climb up here and then wait for like 10, 15 seconds for her to club this Nazi over the head.
Okay, Bobby, question for you.
What's up?
Where in the world do you think we're going to next, if you got to take a crack at it?
He goes all over the world, right?
Any place in the world. Could be Minneapolis.
It could be Minneapolis. I mean, we're here now, and he's technically here now.
Is Harrison Ford here?
Is there Harrison Ford in the building? Oh, no, where are we going?
Surprisingly, Shanghai. Just like that, we spoke of the secret code word, which I believe is like Earth Shatter or something like that, Anadamic, and it's teleported us to Shanghai.
Yeah, right in the middle of a bombing run, huh?
Yeah, so it's another big action sequence that you really throw them in here back to back. We still look kind of gated by Gina here, unfortunately, especially at the end, as you'll see. Just kind of a little bit of a break, but
There is one little climbing skip found for this section that actually speeds Gina up quite a bit. It was found by Zumo.
yeah, shout out to anyone who's like put in time trying to break this game. I know early on it was myself and Matt really putting in a lot of the work on release. We found a lot of the same skips actually, but anyone who's been a part of the community, thank you for helping to find these skips.
Lots of people came in and contributed. All right, so this is kind of the skip here, is we want to mantle up on that little wooden support beam, kind of extruding out, and then we sprint off, whip, and then do a tricky jump there. Very nice. First try. And then we do a full coyote jump across here, whip this down, and then this saves like a minute and a half of Gina saying, oh, look at that plane, take a picture of that plane, and all of that, which we just don't have time for. We don't want to talk to you, sorry.
Yeah, there's this big part where you're like stuck at a door and she's just kind of explaining stuff before you can continue. But once we get past that part, it doesn't matter how fast we finish this part because we're just waiting for Gina to run over here. There's actually some like really cool little time saves. If we could ever find a way to speed Gina up, we're just going to do a small one.
Uh-oh.
You can fall in the fire. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we're not too far back, it's fine. Yeah, so, yep, sprint sliding off of things lets you go a little bit further, so that's what happens there.
It's like where we just were, where it fell in the fire, you can jump over to this ledge with a really specific jump, but it's just not worth going for because if you mess it up, you lose time. If you make it, you're not saving any time, so.
So do you do the quit out here? No, you don't do the quit out. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a quit out that some runners do there, and we're not even sure if it actually helps. We think it might speed up Gina a little bit, but you're waiting here forever, so either way. So
just look on this horizon. You're going to see Gina run over. She's got to get in the plane before we can do that. So we have plenty of time for donations at this moment.
Well, I do want to give a quick shout out to our wonderful Twitch charity tool. We are literally $6.40 away from raising $8,000 to Doctors Without Borders with the extension alone. So thank you so much for that. We also are getting ever closer. We are $8,500 away from getting that good ending for Avowed. Keep those donations coming. And we have Kalubi donating $54, saying 2 tickets to the Avowed good ending, please. I agree. Thank you so much for that donation. And we also have another birthday. We have a $37 donation from Matt saying it's my sister's birthday today as well. Happy 37th, Amanda.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
So if you thought we were done with set pieces, this is kind of the coolest one. Unfortunately, it's also one where we really don't have to interact with it at all. It's also very like reminiscent to one of Machine Games, the developers behind this, one of their earlier titles. If you've played through all the modern Wolfenstein games, there's actually a lot of similarities between those and this, which makes a lot of sense. But Wolfenstein: The New Order starts with a giant like plane ride segment, and every time I play this, I just think of that and how good those games are. So.
Spoke too soon.
Yeah, you can see our health in the bottom left and our ammo on the bottom right, and we really don't need to touch it. There's a fun little Easter egg where if you shoot the tail, you get this reference to a part in the movies that actually takes place after this, so it's a throwback to something that hasn't happened. But yeah, we're just gonna let Gina pilot us to the end before we get a new airship, so we got some more birthdays to talk about maybe.
Those birthdays are currently getting those candles ready to be lit. We do have, that said, $10 from Thane. And we're talking about the Himalayas. So the Himalayas, huh? I hear that Indiana Jones and a Kung Fu Crew Cup, who's coming in later, have been there 400 times, and Indiana Jones only makes up about 1% of that. I see what you did there. Thane, thank you so much for that donation. Doctors Without Borders. We also have $25 from C. Swavely saying, let's go, GDQ. Agreed. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, as I'm talking, that donation, the incentive for the good ending for About is getting closer and closer. We are 2/3 of the way there, but we are running out of time. We need to hit that incentive in time to see the fantastically good ending. And remember that Twitch charity tool I mentioned? We passed $8,000 on that to donate, or donated to Doctors Without Borders. So thank you so much for that. But, agreed, round of applause. Also, remember, if you want to put your Twitch extension towards a specific incentive, make sure you activate it on the bottom left-hand side of the screen after you have donated.
That was perfect amount of time, because now we're going to get a brand new plane, but just jumping off here. This is one of my favorite deaths in the game. It just makes me smile every time.
Dropped his gun.
Yeah.
Bye.
This is our plane now.
Out of my way, pal.
What a horrible way to go out. We just need to wait for Gina to jump on over. One thing I want to point out, in this game, I don't know if this is an Indiana Jones thing. I kind of forget a lot of the movies. I mean, there's 3 of them, but I kind of forget. He always talks about old friends in every map we go through. He's talking about Antonio's old friend. He talks about his old friend here. It talks about having an old friend back in the Himalayas. He's got a lot of friends all over the place. There's also, if anyone can ever inform me on what it means, playing through this casually, Indiana Jones one time just yelled out duck soup. I don't know if that's a famous catchphrase of his. I couldn't find anything on it, so if anyone knows the lore behind duck soup, please let me know. But yeah, we're not quite in Sukhothai just yet, where we're going for kind of our last stone piece, but this is the hotel leading into, which is a pretty cool skip. We're gonna actually grab some fruit and some bread here, because while we don't need it for this part, we're kind of setting up for the end of the game. So we're just gonna grab some fun stuff.
Yeah, just like we're gonna go on the American way and just take all the food off of the table in the local establishment.
All we've done, we're
gonna take
starving.
it, and then we're gonna down it. Oh, inventory glitch.
Yeah, if you try to just like go through your inventory even slightly quicker than like 1 interaction per second, it just takes forever to get what you actually need.
Yeah. Then we're gonna take the rest of the food in our room, because like he said, we're setting up for literally the rest of the game right here. So the cool little skip here is we position ourselves here, pull up the camera, and then aim in while mantling here, and then that just gets us an extra little distance. And then we drop down, and this skips a whole set piece of the hotel that we're in getting sieged by local gangsters or whatever.
Yeah, this is actually one that I love this skip because of what it does, but I'm also annoyed because I found a completely different version of this same skip when it came out that involves like running all the way over to here instead of just taking the boat, and you get to see the NPCs T-pose, and that's great. And then Matt found that way it's like, oh, it's faster, we gotta do it, but yeah. That area is completely covered in death planes. So the fact that we both found completely different ways of breaking that's kind of incredible. Like, early on we found, speaking of like the next map, a lot of the same things. So we play on patch 2. When we were starting to break this game on release, I had some devs watching me in chat break it, which I was happy about. I don't think they were, because on the next map, we're gonna do an out of bounds, and they patched the way that I found on stream, but Matt at the same time found a slightly different way of doing it, and that wasn't patched, so we still gotta do that. I think eventually they did patch it. Now there's a third way of doing it if you play on like a current version of it, but yeah, we're just kind of waiting for some people to move out of the way. And we gotta get into the final hub of the game, where we have a little bit of downtime because Gina needs to do a little bit of dialogue with certain NPCs. And in that downtime, we're gonna go around and collect a little bit more stuff.
This is where you're getting the rest of the upgrades for the rest of the game. So he's gonna get Moxie, which gives us I don't know how many extra stamina bars.
Yeah, so if you get either of the medicine upgrades, the health or the stamina, the health gives you 1 extra bar, the stamina gives you 2 extra bars.
Okay.
Come up here just to start the dialogue. While she's talking, we're going to...
We're just waiting on a conversation Gina's having. Gotta eat more fruit and then take what's there.
Yeah, we also have a limit of 3 of each, 3 bread, 3 medical items, and 3 fruit, so...
Anything I can
talk to our doctor here. Gonna pick up Moxie, buy the book. Yeah, speaking of like, if Andy's a doctor without borders, we do go around collecting medicine and giving it to other ones. Okay, we need a little bit extra.
There's a map. There's a map you can go grab by the boat.
The game does not want me to get out of the journal. Okay, yeah, there's also a thing we can grab right.
Sounds delicious.
Luckily, you just have so many points available to you, and Mox is a pretty low item. You're supposed to actually like get it back in the Vatican, so it doesn't cost a whole lot. But now we start a really nice boat ride all the way to the other side of the map. While like going in a straight line from where we are now will get us where we need to go. Unfortunately, we don't have a way past like death planes around that area, but if we do a big arc around the map, go out of bounds, and then come from behind, we can actually bypass all of those death planes. So we do have to fly over there. One thing I would love to see if somebody wants to like glitch hunt a game, if you could ever find a way to like make the boat fly in the air. I have this vision of just going up and over. I want to see like a boat air swim glitch.
That's a vision I'd like to see realized.
Yeah.
But you get to appreciate the nice water physics in this game.
Yeah, so you can see all of the different areas that normally you're supposed to stop. There's a bunch of Nazis and fascists. You're supposed to get collectibles, do all these different puzzles, different trials, and we're just cruising on past.
Not interested.
There's also usually a lot of dialogue between Gina and Indy, kind of getting to know each other a little bit more. But by just doing this, they don't really talk until you get basically where we need to go, and then we're just gonna peace out, kind of leave Gina behind. So even though it looks like the river is like really wide here, it's actually not. If you try to get anywhere near the shoreline, you just get stuck. So we're these big curves. And to where we need to go. Yeah, my game at home does not look like this. It's actually so pretty.
It does look really good.
Water's not so clean, but you know, that's something we can work on.
Just want to give a quick update as you're cruising through that absolutely beautiful but brown water. We are cruising along with that Avowed Good ending. We are at $17,668.35 out of $25,000. You are doing fantastic work, friends. But we are still $7,300 away, so we are getting closer and closer, but not quite there yet. And just want to give a quick little birthday shout out to Big Bad Beluga, for who donated $10 and said, "It's my dog's birthday today. He's 10 today and still just as good of a boy as he was 10 years ago. Happy birthday, Big Bad Beluga's best boy."
Happy birthday.
Yeah, now that we've like gone all the way across the map, we just leave Gina behind. We just swim through a bit of collision. All right, actually, we need to get some more food. not thought it was going to be here. Gonna take some damage, I think. Yeah. We're gonna have to go through the boat ride again. Now you might be a little sad, but it's people's birthdays we need to celebrate. So
That's what I'm saying.
I just want to hear more of those, honestly.
My face lit up when you said the boat ride again, because I've got plenty of things to talk about. All right, we have $27 from Cold Brew Science saying, love Indiana Jones and the Great Circle because it inspired me to upgrade my graphics card. Really enjoying this run. We also have $27 Doctor's Up orders from TK. Get her done, BloodThunder, and let's get that Avowed incentive. Thank you so much. Xanathol has donated $100 saying, GDQ hype. Let's go Avowed, good ending. $25 from Cannon Swift. This is why we donate, a good ending. But the catch is, this doesn't end. Like MSF, there are no bounds on the good that GDQ does for the world. We also have Sarah donating $25 saying, the good ending includes romancing Kai, right? Right? Well, donating either way. Thank you so much, everybody, for that. Again, as a reminder, we're almost at $18,000 of this incentive. Y'all are cooking. Absolutely fantastic job so far.
Keep going.
We are getting closer and closer. And, you know, every single donation towards that not only gets us closer to the Beat Saber milestone, but it also gets us closer to $100,000 on day one of Summer Games Done Quick. So I want to see that met. I think BloodThunder and crew would like to see that met pretty soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Just a thought. We also have, actually, you know, we have a separate train going on. We have some $5 donation trains also cooking. We have $5 from Ducky saying, no ticket, got one for the $5 train. I agree. I'm always a fan of trains, boats, planes, automobiles, and everything else that we can see with these fantastic graphics here. We have $5 from V-Storm Courage saying, greetings from Sicily. Not everybody is greetings from Germany, friends. We have Sicily representing as well.
Sernan told us.
All right, take two this time. Hopefully I can see where I'm going. Just need to go under.
Just went straight through some concrete, don't mind us.
Yeah. So because we're very prepared for the end of the map. We don't want to lose any health. We don't want to lose any of our food along the way, which is why we had to kind of restart, because Indy will also start taking damage if it runs out of air, which makes sense, but is unfortunate for us. So I don't think...
Okay. There we go. If you fall in that pit, you're stuck. It's over.
Yeah, it's also a reloader checkpoint. We're actually going to lower the frame rate here as well, because for some reason that allows us to just kind of run up a straight line. And yeah, we are now fully outside the map. If you can't tell from just all of the weird collision going on, we still get to enjoy the nice scenery. But yeah, we're just looping around the backside so we can hit the final part. In this, what's supposed to happen is Voss shows up, as he always does, but this time he actually takes Gina as well. So at the end of this map, Gina is no longer our companion. She is captured, and Locust, the big Nephilim, played by Tony Todd, shows up and says, oh, you actually care more about Gina than the Great Circle. You're trying to like help us, so I'm going to be your friend and go with you.
Doesn't he say, like, I will help you find woman or something?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Should be really careful not to take any damage on this either. So there is some stuff we can get on the next map, but we really don't want to have to do that because it's going to mess with enemy timings. And if I am not careful and I run towards this waterfall, the game's going to auto-kill us, but you're supposed to come through this part of the game and hit the trigger. And that just completely bypasses every single quest. And Sukhothai, the third hub. Yeah, we have one map left. So while we have a skip before we get to like the final fight, I didn't mention like how the game works with cutscenes. So there might be one cutscene we have to watch, which is pretty long, and I already informed everyone on tech about it. It may happen, hopefully not, but we're gonna lose our hat and get it back real quick. Yeah, when we get down to where Voss is, we may have a little bit of a wait. We'll see. It's a fun cutscene though.
Okay, so first, the path we take, we actually like really want to be as optimal as possible because we want the enemies in the next area to be in a pattern that's such that we can get past without getting detected easily. Because we're pretty much going to run in between like everyone there and go straight up to the front of the pyramid. Okay, you do the restart checkpoint for safety. So we have more consistent spawns.
Yeah, we need to do like a small skip to actually get up to where the big skip is, and then the fun really begins.
Yep. So we're running straight up to the front of the pyramid, then we're going to look to the side and then do another glitch mantle, kind of like the one we do for window skip.
Yeah, this time we actually don't have to lower our FPS, which is nice.
Thankfully, yeah. Yep, up like that.
And we're going to grab a little safety checkpoint just so we don't ever have to do that part again, and then this part's a little scary, but we'll see how it goes.
So we're jumping up on some invisible ledges here, and now we're stuck in this beam, and then we're kind of witch jumping so we can get up as high as possible. And then we're kind of setting up, like lining up our crosshair in such a way where we jump up and we tap W or forward to stand on an invisible wedge. This is probably like one of the hardest things in the run.
Yeah, Andy does not like standing on this ledge.
Yeah, and it feels very, very random. So it usually takes a couple of tries, but we'll get there. But once we get up, we're gonna turn to the right and then mantle around a death trigger, and then we'll be out of bounds.
Also, these enemies have guns, but because we're up here, they just like to throw stuff at it instead. Which is nice, because otherwise we'd have to actually take them out.
There you go. Oh, almost.
Yeah, even when you get up there, sometimes the game will just bump you out. You can kind of see he stands for a second and then gets pushed back. So once we get past this part, it's also still very scary.
Another kind of annoying thing is when they throw stuff at us that actually like kind of offsets our position, so they can get you unstuck out of the beam here.
So I think every runner has tried different setups for this, and I don't think anyone's found anything that's nearly consistent enough to call an actual setup. So I'm trying a couple that have worked for me in the past here. You can see the rocks just flying over my head. Andy really just does not want to.
I keep seeing you clip onto it and then slide right off. Another annoying thing about this game is the physics are tied to frame rate. So if it fluctuates at all, oh, there we go. Now we're out of bounds, and we are going to pay very close attention to how much damage we take each time we drop down. So we lost one bar there. We're going to walk off of here, take another bar, because we maximize pretty much the whole thing. There's a little bit of wiggle room near the end, but we really want to play it safe. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And this is by
Might have to heal.
No, I should be fine here if I hit this. So we also don't want like any momentum when we're doing these drops, otherwise we go flying. So make sure we There's a big box over here we need to land on.
There we go.
And wait for a little regen to come through.
Yeah, we're waiting for the regen of our first bar to maximize our healing items.
So if we get lucky, we'll just take one thing of damage here.
There you go.
Now we're just really gonna get as much healing
Gonna chow down.
as possible.
Drop down on the, there we go.
And we're going to wait once again for our health to come
Just
back.
to be super safe, but sprinting onto this Jeep shouldn't take much damage.
Let's eat some more food, shall we? So we're really just stacking up on stamina because we have to fight Voss here in just a second, and it's melee combat.
You also can't take any of your consumables to the next section, so you're gonna use that.
So if, not only the game, if the PC likes me, if Steam likes me, and the save's copied over correctly, we will be able to skip this cutscene. If not, we're in for a really big cinematic moment, which might be a little glitchy. Oh, skip there, hold on.
Moment of truth. There we go.
All right.
Oh, it's like legitimately a 5-minute cutscene. It is a big thing, but yeah, there's stuff with Noah's Ark, which the Great Circle holds the power of like flooding the place, and yeah, it was Noah who used the Great Circle before to get all of the animals. That's how he did it. That's kind of the lore. And Voss wants to harness that power, but he knows karate, so we need to kind of beat him up.
Yeah, so just to talk a little bit about the melee fighting mechanics in this game, there's not much to it, but we can do punch chains, and we charge attacks, and we can also parry incoming hits. So fighting Voss is usually going to be dodging out of the way of his attacks, hopefully, because whenever we get hit, we do like a recovery animation like that, and then parrying like that, because once you parry an attack, you can do like 2-3 punches back to back really quickly.
Yeah, but if you're kind of wondering like how the Brawler books played apart, in my testing, like he normally takes like 40 punches or so. With Brawler 1 and 3, it's down to 20, so it like literally cuts it in half, and that's him going down. We have one more rope swing we go through. If you don't pay attention, it's really easy to miss, but there's this guy who's supposed to be taking care of Gina, which we hear here, and if we just look up in the upper right, she just pushes him straight off. Not a problem. Yeah, but we just need to do enough damage until she is ready to pull us up. One of the most annoying soft locks you can run into this game, which I think is patched at this point, but the game can actually spawn you in reverse here, so you're facing the other way, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Fun stuff.
Had enough?
Because if you reset checkpoint here, you have to do the first phase again.
So once we click on Gina's hand, the time is up. And that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, 80% restricted. A little sloppy, but I think overall pretty happy with that. Thank you guys so much for everyone that donated, especially all the birthday donations. It means a lot. You know, I was part of the SGDQ Ambassador Program, raising money beforehand, so all the work from that, my community showing up and donating so much, and then everyone donating here is just really cool to see. I will also be back on Thursday running the other game in the IdTech engine that just came out a couple months ago, Doom the Dark Ages. So if you want to see another modern FPS game get broken, that one, a little spoiler, has 25 or so frame-perfect skips that we have to do through the entire run. So you're going to want to tune in for that if you haven't seen it. But if you guys want to shout out your runs, because they were both runners as well.
Oh yeah, sure. On Thursday night, I'm going to be running Castlevania Rondo of Blood, Maria. And that's always a good time. I've done it for previous GDQ events before, but this will be spectacular.
I'm on couch for the next run, Avowed, and then on Wednesday morning, I'm running Control Any Percent. Also, for anyone here who is on site, I'm doing a panel on glitch hunting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So if you're on site and that sounds interesting to you, please show up and attend. Myself, Alright, another commentary, and Witherman, another runner here, have been working really hard on it the last couple weeks. So
yeah, but one last shout out to the community behind this game, especially Matt. Like I said, he was there day one. He's run it all. Amazing runner. If you guys like those runs, you can check them out. You can check me out on twitch.tv/BloodThunder. Run all these games. This is my 27th. Doom will be my 28th, which is incredible. You know, a lot of people like mention that. How many times have you done it? It's while it is a lot, it always does mean just as much as the last one. Being able to help out such a great cause in Doctors Without Borders, and really get that Avowed incentive met. It's the next run up. You're going to want to see it. Mike is also a great runner. He will get through that game incredibly fast. Do not wait. Yeah.
And there've been like many like recent developments in like the Avowed route as well, and that Mike has been grinding to show off. And again, we are super close to that good ending incentive. And just to call back to a donation comment heard earlier this run was that we could use a good ending. So please, gdq.gg/donate or be using the Twitch tool like Asuka had mentioned, and please help us get to what we need for higher incentives, for the higher milestones reached, and for a vowed good ending.
I think that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for having me. Shoutouts to everyone working out behind the scenes. The setup they do every single time is crazy. There is this behemoth, you can't see it on screen, but there's a behemoth of a PC next to me that they're moving every single time. It probably weighs like 70 pounds. It's crazy. Yeah, hope everyone has a great rest of the event. Get those donations in right away.
And thank you so much one more time for BloodThunder and that absolutely amazing run. That was fantastic. We always love